welcome into this Monday's edition of Entertainment News here at MBE. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and of course our Twitch stream for all you Twitchers out there. I'm one of your co-hosts, Stephen John McLaughlin. Your other co-host is John C. Walsh. How you doing, John?
I'm doing splendid and tremendous, Stephen.
As always.
Very brightly.
Yeah.
Tired. Tonight. I've got a bit
John,
of drool coming
I'll
down
tell you,
onto my lip.
there's a reason you're tired, apart from obviously your work commitments.
Tired? No, I'm not tired, Stephen. I am fucking
I was going to say, you've been
thriving.
battling with YouTube over the last 24 hours over a video that was pulled.
That stuff energises me. I thrive on conflict.
Yeah. We got an email in early yesterday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, saying that one of our videos had been pulled, and we were getting a warning for it, and it was because we were doing a trailer live, which we didn't do. We never do. We know the rules on that. And yeah, we fought it.
Spam, misinformation. I think there's someone been at it in the comments.
Yeah, so if you're out
pulled
there,
a little,
it didn't work.
Put a sneaky little complaint in and try to do us.
Yeah, I don't know why you do that to such a small channel like ours.
But needless to say, I
had the last laugh.
I appealed and it basically says to him it's fucking bollocks.
Yeah.
None of your guidelines are applicable to this video. 5 a.m. this morning, it was overturned.
Yes. That's how quick it was. The justice system in the future is very fast since they abolished all lawyers.
Don't fuck with Glaswegians, bitches.
Do you know what film that's from?
No, I don't.
Back to the Future Part 2. The justice system moves more swiftly in the future now they've abolished all lawyers. That was Doc Brown that said that.
That's a horrific insight into the future. If there's no lawyers, then there's no justice. It moves more swiftly because it's a kangaroo court. It's basically fucking your man, the blood judge of Hitler. Yeah. Or Munich or whatever it was, the blood judge of Hitler's blood judge. I always forget this guy.
John, it was that court in was it Sardarudum? That court scene. That was a kangaroo court.
That was a kangaroo court. There was a lot of kangaroo courts back in the day. There was no justice.
Yeah, especially for minorities, John. But listen, we'll not get too deep just now. We'll keep it light and airy, and it doesn't get more light and airy than this news.
More majority than this man.
Yeah, it's Ryan Gosling.
Everyone loves Ryan.
And he's rumoured for Fantastic Four movie role. Is he going to be one of the four? We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But this is coming in from ScreenRant.com, John. Even though the Fantastic Four reboot isn't starting production anytime soon, there have been ongoing speculations about who will star as the iconic heroes. It was initially expected the cast announcement would happen at D23 in 2022, as the film properly got its new creative team.
Nothing happened at D23 in 2022.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing. It was a no-mark event. However,
John Campea was ranting.
It appears a huge Hollywood star may be heading towards the MCU. During the last episode of the Hot Mic podcast, Jeff Schneider brought up that he had heard rumblings.
That's as good as gold standard then, Jeff's got his finger on the pulse.
Gosling may be up for a role in the Fantastic Four. At the time of this story's publication, Marvel Studios or anyone from Gosling's team has commented on the rumours. It's just this quote here, John, and then I'll let you in. And then there's the rumour of Ryan Gosling playing Sentry in the MCU. Please tell me he's like a Superman kind of character. I haven't heard anything like that, obviously. I heard some Gosling Fantastic Four stuff.
There you go.
So there you are.
Well, I mean, I put Sentry on the thumbnail because, quite frankly, I can't think. I'll bring myself up.
Yes.
Just got to split here. I can't think of any other character he could play. I mean, Fantastic Four, you're not going to make someone as good looking as Ryan Gosling the fucking Thing.
Put him in a mask or a
mocap, yeah. I mean, his sort of unique selling point is the blonde hair and the sort of blue eyes and the dashing good looks that connects with huge demographics, I presume both sexes, but primarily females. That's who you're gunning for when you bring a Ryan Gosling into the MCU, a whole new demographic who are perhaps not as interested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as your sort of average male figure who is deeply interested in the MCU. I would imagine the vast majority of the demographic male dominated. You just have to look at the reaction channels. They're all male and they're all geeky.
Sweaties.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be strange if you brought Ryan in. someone of his calibre and put him behind CG or behind a mask. But then again, Stephen, they didn't do it with Christian Bale. They put heavy amounts of makeup on him.
Yeah.
But he was still very clearly Christian Bale when he played God the God Butcher in that god awful Thor.
Yeah.
Love and Thunder movie. What were you doing, Christian? Did you not see that in the script? How bad that movie was? Fucking hell, he was barely in it. Basically playing Tim Curry and fucking Peter Pan. No, Treasure Island. Who played?
I think it was
Doctor Hook.
Yeah.
And Peter Pan.
I think
the Robin Williams one.
Yeah.
Who played them?
Hook.
Yeah. Hook.
Was it not? Was it not?
I'm getting Tim Curry mixed up, but he played Long John Silver in Treasure Island.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. He was basically Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
It was pathetic. That's an Oscar-winning actor playing a villain who can kill gods. It was just like, we'll not go down speaking about that. Needless to say, that's how you don't bring in an A-list actor.
John, that's what I fear about
work.
Keanu Reeves coming into the MCU as well and doing the similar thing to him as well. They have to make it work.
They do.
When you see some of the opportunities that have came about, obviously Harry Styles is came in and did a cameo.
Yes, Harry's an actor now.
He's an actor. And I think they've just got to be careful who they cast. Sometimes not having the sort of A-list Hollywood star works, and the formula up to now I think's worked very well. Robert Downey Jr. I'm not saying he was down and out when he did Iron Man, the first movie. It was certainly on the ascendancy once more, in his acting. But you look at the likes of Chris Hemsworth.
Not really known.
Yeah.
I didn't know about him.
Chris Evans, we knew him from the Fantastic Four, the original film. Not very good. Matt Ruffalo was more... we talked about him last night. It was more a supporting.
Yeah, in a drama.
And when he did do a lead, it was rom-coms, that kind of
Which
thing.
is strange, because I wouldn't associate Mark with rom-coms, because he's quite a hairy man, quite short.
Was Ed Norton at that point an A-lister? Probably not. I think his A-list sort of time was maybe the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, that's what I would associate.
When he was doing Fight Club, and I think you just look at it, it just works that way. Tom Holland, basically an unknown. I know he was more Sony appointed, but you just look at that.
Tom Hiddleston, unknown.
Yeah.
More theatre trained.
It's almost like the George Lucas formula. When he would cast, he would make sure, or do his best to make sure that the cast of the main characters were unknown. Harrison Ford, it was kind of...
That was the Robert Downey Jr. of the MCU of Star Wars, if you'd like. It was a similar logic deployed by Kevin Feige and Disney, Marvel, when they made this. Well, Kevin Feige, I think it was, who actually... Jon Favreau, not Kevin Feige, I've already said Feige.
Yeah.
Jon Favreau obviously cast, he had Robert Downey Jr. in mind. And I think the long game, they realised his experience, his personality, his charisma, he would hold them all together like a glue, all of these relatively unknown actors. Scarlett Johansson, I think, was known at that point, to be fair, but not to...
Academy Award winner, yeah.
He was the glue that held them all together, almost like Harrison Ford. His experience, he was a tried and steady hand in a sea of relative uncut gems. Obviously, these actors have now went on to really prove themselves. Well, Chris hasn't, to be fair, Hemsworth, because every time he steps outside of Marvel, he just produces
Hulk
a lemon.
Film came out yet? No,
not yet. No. That could be a success, to be fair. Lots of steroids, lots of sort of action-based stuff. I mean, that's right up Chris's street.
He did the Men in Black film. It was terrible.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
It really wasn't good. I think he was Master and Commander on the other side of the world or something with Russell Crowe. That may have been one he was in as well. That was decent, but it wasn't Chris Hemsworth.
I mean, we're not saying...
I'm not saying he's terrible.
But we're not saying we don't want Ryan Gosling in the MCU.
No.
We need to make that clear, John. But they need to make sure they cast him in the right role.
I do want him in the MCU. I enjoy him as an actor. I think he's got that humour. He's got the comedic timing. We've seen that with Will Ferrell, what he's done with him on the sort of Jimmy Kimmel skits. I think it's Kimmel. It's Kimmel or Fallon. I think it's Kimmel though. He can deliver the comedy when it's required. I have no doubt he could come into a Marvel movie and deliver.
I saw him doing the junkets with Harrison Ford during the Blade Runner stuff, and the two of them were comedy gold.
He's funny as
Everywhere they went, they were just so funny, and they seem to get on really well as well.
He's got all the key components to succeed as a Marvel character. long term, he's still relatively young.
Yeah.
I think he's in his late 30s, maybe just touching 40.
Yeah.
Early 40s. He's got 10 years plus potentially playing a character. He's got the sort of acting package. He's a brilliant actor. He can do multiple genres, so whatever they throw at him, he can do it. He's got the comedy. He's got the sort of height to play the likes of a Sentry, if that's who he's going to be playing up by all accounts. I looked into that character, 6'1" or something. He's round about that range, Ryan. So he ticks all the boxes. And obviously, as I says, he could bring in a new demographic who are huge fans of Gosling, but perhaps not the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's a potentially lucrative casting decision, if you like, to bring him into a new movie. And again, I always view the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a universe of sub-franchises. We just did our tier list last night, and that was evident. You get Spider-Man with his trilogy, Captain America with his trilogy, Thor with his trilogy, Iron Man with his trilogy, Ant-Man with his soon-to-be trilogy. They're all connecting into a greater sort of purpose and meaning, but they've got their own little stories. And if it is a Fantastic Four story, if he is going to be one of the four, or Sentry working alongside, but is it Mr. Fantastic? That's what he's called, isn't it? I think they're closely knitted. They're friends in the comics. He stood by him against Doctor Doom or something, I think they says. I've read it up briefly.
Yeah.
If he's going to come in any role in a potential Fantastic Four standalone story trilogy that's going to connect into something greater than time, he could be, again, the sort of Han Solo, the Robert Downey Jr. of that sub-franchise. Because, Stephen, I brought up an article here.
Yeah.
I'll try and make it work somehow. That's terrible. The alignment is absolutely shocking, as you would expect. I'm going to try and move it over and just make it work somehow. I'm lazy. I don't really want to be doing this. Why is this website so shite? There you go. I mean, you've got the potential actors. You bring in a John Krasinski. You certainly don't need an experienced standing Ryan Gosling to provide the steady hand to maybe keep these younger, more youthful actors, inexperienced actors, I should say, in check and help them through the process, like perhaps a Robert Downey Jr. would do. This guy's been round the block. So if they are going to cast him, I don't think you need a Ryan Gosling coming in, but it certainly wouldn't fucking hurt, would it, if you've got Krasinski playing Mr. Fantastic and you've got him playing Sentry, and it's two similar aged actors, two similarly brilliant actors with this bromance, this sort of connection. It could work very, very nice. But look at the other options here, man. Penn Badgley, I've never really heard of this guy, I'm not going to lie. He's 35, he's mid-30s. You've got William Jackson Harper, obviously Adam Driver. I don't think Adam Driver can play Mr. Fantastic in a Fantastic Four movie. It would work for me. It's not his kind of role. No. That'd be a disaster. I mean, people are upvoting him, but they're tripping. That simply wouldn't work.
You could be a fan of Adam Driver, but don't be blinkered.
Yeah, exactly. John David Washington, you think that could be a little curveball?
Yeah.
Maybe casting him. He's relatively young. I think he's about my age. He's a bit older. 37? Fuck me, he's old as 37. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a great actor, John.
He's a brilliant actor. Stephen, I mean, the options are limitless here, man, in terms of casting decisions.
Yeah.
And maybe thrusting Ryan into that as a Sentry, I don't know. It seems to me from the quote, Snyder's saying he's not heard about him coming in as Sentry, but he has heard rumours of him being in Fantastic Four. You probably know more about Fantastic Four than I do, Stephen. Because I think I've only seen maybe the Chris Evans one.
Well, that was
and
the
even
only
then,
one.
that was like
I never
fucking
watched
10 years ago.
Miles Teller. Was he in the sort of reboot? I think it was Miles
Yeah.
Teller.
He
I
was
didn't watch those ones, John. I never watched The Silver Surfer, which was the sequel to the Chris Evans ones. I never watched them. I watched the original film. I always liked the animated stuff with the Fantastic Four. Obviously, because technology hadn't caught up to do live action at that point with certain things that they had to do with those characters. And it was always because of the crossover with Doctor Doom, Doc Ock, Spider-Man. It was always these crossovers which always intrigued me, and they were always this very close-knit family. And that's what appealed to me. It was something different from what I'd seen in any other comic book. Yeah. It was like, a collective of four powerful humans, and just that sort of backstory, their origins, how they became what they became, really intrigued me as well. I'm not too concerned about the casting, I'll be honest with you.
Do you think he could play one of the four though? Do you think he could play a Johnny Storm or the Thing? I can't see him playing Mr. Fantastic.
The reason I don't think he's going to be any of the four, because then he's committed to it. And Ryan Gosling's not that type of actor. Very much
like
Ed
this
Norton.
Sentry character then.
That's why Ed Norton did not continue on as Banner, because he'd have to commit himself to a long-term contract, and I don't think that's the type of actor Ryan Gosling is.
Because this is your man Sentry here, Stephen.
Yeah.
And you can see similarities right off the bat. The blonde hair, the physique. Ryan's jacked. We've seen that in that movie. He was in the Grey Man.
The Grey Man, yeah.
Falsely Chris Evans. He's jacked out his mind.
Yep.
He's got some physique. He's a tall guy. He's got all the sort of
and
criteria to play this character.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about this character, John, whether he's anti-hero or if he's maybe...
I mean, I'll bring this up briefly.
I got a checkered past. Is he whiter than white? I don't know. I don't really know too much about him, but I think in terms of Ryan Gosling, I think it wouldn't do his career any harm to play more darker roles. I think we've seen him play some in the past, and I think that's where he excels. I think that's where, as an actor, it's more challenging to play someone that's not squeaky clean, and you know, for such a long time, I think that's why he shifted genres. You know, after maybe about a decade of doing romantic films, etc., that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like The Notebook and all that. And I think when he did Drive, and I can't remember the other one, it was around about that time as well.
Well, he was in Notebook, which was circa 2010 or something, wasn't it? 2009.
It was quite early on, yeah.
He's been in a whole host of great movies, and Stephen, as I says, his range is undoubtedly brilliant. He can do rom-com, he can do sort of drama stuff
Musical,
with belly, he can do musicals. The guy is an outstanding actor. He's hot proper in terms of his standing in Hollywood. He's audience that seem to appreciate him. And he is a multi-demographic actor. It's not just female. I always feel
Ryan Gosling, though, John, is taking the same sort of path as Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, but he's maybe getting more and more serious.
Yeah, and I think it will come to that. So I don't think he'll want to commit.
This would be a one and done potentially.
I think it would be, yeah.
I mean, that would probably lend to a Sentry then, because he does look like this sort of morally ambiguous character.
Come in and out. I mean, I don't
think you'd be playing this variant of him, I'll tell you that, where it's this sort of demonic glowing eye version. I think he'd perhaps be the one that stood with Mr. Fantastic against a greater threat. I could see him coming in and maybe dying or something like that, or just disappearing after one movie, and then he's had his time. It's
like Jake Gyllenhaal, isn't it? I mean,
exactly.
He committed himself to one film because he's that type of actor as well. He likes to try different things. He likes to do independent, you know, cheaper films, if you like, as well as obviously big blockbusters. And I think Ryan Gosling's in that same mould. Yes,
Stephen, just briefly going off on a tangent, Johnny Storm, Joe Keery from Stranger Things fame.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. He's a young guy, man. I think he'd be great. Zac Efron, I've always been championing Zac Efron coming into the MCU. Yeah, but
there's another character.
Yeah, it was Adam Warlock, who
and
also
some people
played
obviously,
by Will Poulter.
You know, wanted him to play Wolverine as well.
Wolverine. But I mean, he could potentially play Wolverine. He is getting a little bit older looking now. I think he's maybe a year or two older than me. He's changed physically. He's jacked out his mind.
His face has changed as well.
In terms of height, it has changed a lot. I don't know what that's about.
He looks a lot older now than he did like maybe 2 years ago. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on with him.
Maybe
apparently everyone in Hollywood and America in general who are in these sort of social circles are doing this weird shit where they're chewing. There's like this chewing thing where they're trying to change their facial shape and make their jaws bigger.
Okay.
And apparently it helps with breathing and all sorts of other shit. I was watching a video. I went down it came up random last night. Maybe that's what he's fucking doing.
Yeah.
If he's working out the rest of his body, why not work out his jaw? Perhaps
it's interesting you bring him up, John, because again, Zac Efron. I think Zac Efron and Ryan Gosling's sort of career paths have been very similar in terms of, you know, how they started out and where they're trying to go. You know, and I think I'd like to see Zac in the MCU at some point as well. But again, he's doing these sort of Netflix sort of serial killer films as well, you know,
Ted Bundy,
he's really flexing his acting chops.
And musical,
and I
Great Showman.
Yeah, exactly. He was great.
And he was in High School Musical as well, I think, back in the day.
Yeah, it was part of that Disney club, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was.
But I mean, he's multi-talented, John. Very much similar to Hugh Jackman.
Stephen,
actually,
I tell you, I don't know about Johnny Storm, but I do like the idea of Wolverine for Zac. I don't know if you're always going to compare him to Hugh Jackman.
But what if he was brought in as a variant in the actual Deadpool film, and in some way Hugh Jackman's Wolverine gave him his blessing type thing for the fans to sort of...
That's always a great way to maybe feel out the actual level of appreciation, excitement for him coming in. He gets a cameo as a variant. They get you almost test the audience and how much they are.
Yeah.
He's winning them over, if you'd like.
Yeah.
And then you take it from there. I don't know. He's certainly one of the gripes. Oh, I've just done something there. I don't know what I've done.
I'll tell you something, John, and it'd be in the same vein as what I'm about to say, right? If The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 had not been made right, and in No Way Home, Andrew Garfield pops up as a variant Spider-Man, I would have went, I fucking love that guy. I want him to play a Spider-Man in the future. They could do that.
Slightly different character though, isn't it?
But
Wolverine, he needs to have a growl. He needs to have this sort of darkness within.
I think he could do it, yeah.
One of the gripes was he was too tall as well. Yeah. Wolverine's a midget in the comics. Better not say that. We may get struck for community guidelines again. Is that allowed?
John, it's funny you should say that about height, because I was watching this video. I think it might have been on Graham Norton's show. It was Hugh Jackman, Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy. And James McAvoy was a wee down.
He's teeny.
I don't know what height he is. I think it's just because the other two are so tall though.
Yeah, he's not as big as them.
Chris Evans.
No chance.
I mean,
he's a great actor. They're flinging just names at the wall here. Jamie Dornan's not that great.
I think Chris Evans would be a 10-second good idea. Then they'd go, oh, what have we done?
Yeah, exactly.
Type thing, you know.
And it wouldn't work now. He's so synonymous with Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
The thing, I mean, fuck, you could. I mean, Steve and I have got my heart set, maybe.
They don't have to put anybody in that character.
No, they don't. No.
Just get somebody to voice. No, it's too good.
We're going to step away from that.
I think so, yeah.
It's one of the worst looking potential candidate casting articles I've seen in a long, long time. Absolute bollocks. Apart from getting off on a tangent about Zac Efron playing Wolverine, but needless to say, Steve,
get Big Mo from EastEnders.
Get Big Mo in, and get Gary in to do maybe give her acting lessons along the way, because she is fucking terrible. Needless to say, I'd be delighted to see Ryan Gosling coming into the MCU. I think he'd be a good addition. We're lacking big personalities in this cinematic universe since the sort of loss of Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Chadwick Boseman, sadly, for different reasons. Scarlett Johansson, we're losing big figures. Jeremy Renner's not going to come back for a long time, if ever. So you've lost 4 or 5 powerhouse actors.
The baton with him anyway, you know.
Yeah, but I'm not accepting Kate Bishop just now. We needed more time for that. I think that's been expedited, and I don't know how to feel about it. So he could fill that void. He could come in as a big personality, a big hitting actor, maybe for 1 or 2 movies, pass the baton, or maybe help the sort of amalgamation, I'm going to use that word, of Fantastic Four into this universe, and then they are established, they can move on. I don't know, man. I'd be all for it. Snyder's saying it's happening. Jeff Snyder is an esteemed sort of what would you call it? What's the name of that when they actually break information? There's a name for it. You know what I'm talking about?
It's a source, isn't there?
Yeah, a source, but there's something that it's called. There's a term for it. But he's renowned for having his finger on the pulse. So if he's hearing things, no, it's not that. There's another one. I can't remember what the hell it is. Doesn't matter. Grace Randolph thinks she's one of them, and to be fair, she was right with Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
So who's to say she isn't? But if he's saying it, it's potential. There is potential that it is happening. That at least there is talks.
Yeah.
And look, you wouldn't be adverse to it.
Yeah.
Was he not meant to be playing fucking Wolfman or something in a Universal horror?
Yeah. Whatever.
What's happening with that? Is that happening? Because that's something I want to see. That's
very
another
much
thing.
Like the Gambit thing, isn't it? The Gambit film.
Channing Tatum's name came up there.
John, I saw that in the articles when I was looking for news the other day.
They're not still talking about that.
They're still talking about it, and I thought, I'm not talking about it. Talked about it.
The man deserves it. He's from New Orleans. The character's from New Orleans. He loves his character. Channing Tatum. It fits perfectly, man.
Yeah,
all the pieces are there. He'd be perfect as Gambit, but it's gone.
That moment's past, hasn't it?
Yeah.
John, we're going to stay in the MCU here, and we're going to talk about the new Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania trailer. No, but don't have to watch it. I think it's more to do with obviously what things are leading up to here, and obviously what Kang has been doing in the past. Kang has killed Avengers before. That is the headline from Screen Rant, John. And I'm just Marvel Entertainment has shared a new promo for the film. If you've checked it out, we haven't yet. may react to it, I don't know. But
Ladbrokes.
Highlighting more of its action and teasing Kang's abilities. What is more striking is that during a confrontation with Scott, Major's villain asks if he has killed him before, suggesting that Kang the Conqueror has defeated a number of Avengers.
So he's asking Scott Lang, have I defeated you? Have I killed you before?
How would he know?
Yeah, I know, it doesn't make any sense, Kang.
That don't make too much sense.
I think he's just been full of hubris. He's saying, have I killed you before? Are you one of the other bitches?
Yeah. Are you one of them Avenger things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've killed so many of you. I mean, have we met?
Yeah, it's a
well, if
strange
we haven't,
one.
then I'll kill you this time.
But it does say the fight between Scott and Kang the Conqueror will likely lead to an emotional outcome. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. The idea that Kang has killed other Avengers before makes him a dangerous antagonist looking ahead at some of the MCU's future projects. And if Scott can find a way to defeat him, it is worth wondering if Ant-Man will be part of the next Avengers film. Those looking forward to learning more about the quantum realm and threat posed by Kang can be sure to check out Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania when it premieres. John, this is one of the things I'm looking forward to, other than obviously Kang making his full film debut, is delving right into this quantum realm. We didn't really do too much of
I'm
it.
just laughing at you, Steve, in the position you're taking.
Yeah, I know, it's just I've been falling asleep here. Do you remember that night I was falling asleep when you and Ruth were talking about a film, and I was like, I need to get in my bed. I've been up since 7 o'clock this morning and I'm absolutely shattered, and we're talking about a film an hour after we finished watching it. I'm like, fucking hell, man.
And the room was so warm.
Yeah, it was the summer as well. It was
warm.
Ridiculous. And I'd been out in the city centre and for work purposes, and I was absolutely shattered. And I was like, oh my God, can we just end this, please? But you can't do that when you're live and you've got a guest on. That's not fair. No, and I'm only joking when I say that. I was just tired, and that's the way I was there, wasn't I? I was like, the fight between Scott and Kang the Conqueror will likely lead to. But John, it will. I think. No, it will. Do you know something? I think. I've got a funny feeling Scott's going to kill him in this film.
Yeah. Well, he could. Yeah. There's so many variants.
I think he
has to kill him.
And I think it's the idea behind that. My theory and the idea behind that is really to propel Ant-Man.
I think the two of them get that
into a more thought of character, because he is a joke figure just now.
I think the two of them could die. They're pushing the daughter.
Yeah.
The daughter is grown up. They've recast her with a better actor. Sorry to the other person who acted. Clearly she's better.
It's recast again, John. It's not the same.
Recast? Another one?
Well, the original girl was too young to play the 5-year jump.
Yeah, but
so it's the one that they play.
It's the older one. The older one they've
recast again.
They've recast her again with a potentially better actor.
I see when we were watching that in the Endgame, and I was like, she looks about the same age. I think it's Paul Rudd because he looks so young.
Yeah,
I was like, they look about the same age. It's too weird.
There's something going on there. That man's sucking on fucking newborn babies' pineal glands and trying to get youth eternal. That's one of the sort of big conspiracy theories. Yeah. They're leaked in the world. Try to get access to pineal glands, and that gives them youth eternal.
John, the quantum realm.
Fucking at it.
The quantum realm, though. We're going to really spend a lot of time in this place this time. We've only really spent maybe about 20 minutes in it or something like that. I can't remember.
It's not been long. No, it's not. I think perhaps the sort of cumulative time spent over the first two Ant-Man movies we were in it in the first. I think we appeared in it briefly. They used it as a conduit, didn't they, for time travel?
Yeah.
In Endgame.
Yeah.
We've not been in it very long.
No.
Not long at all. We get brief looks at it. Funnily enough, thinking of that, I always think back when I think of the quantum realm to a fucking photo appeared on my phone random. My phone had been sitting in my van at that point, and there was an image taken of the fabric on the seat, and Stephen, I shit you know, it was like atoms. It was the weirdest fucking thing, and it always
that's some zoom on your phone.
It was weird, man. I'm telling you, it was a crazy fucking photo, and I could not recreate it, and there was no explanation for this image that appeared on my phone. It was bizarre. It was like the fabric of the seat, but it was hyper zoomed.
I always remember you picking up I think your phone in the car one time. This was years ago, and there was a collage of video of your cats and music getting played. It was so weird.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Fucking hell.
When your cats were saluting.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's so bizarre.
I totally forgot about that, yeah. I remember that. Weird things happen with my phone. But it always reminds me when I hear of Quantum Realm, I think that's what the Quantum Realm's like, because it's like these big floating particles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went off on a tangent again. It's been one of those kind of shows or streams. Needless to say, Stephen, I think you're absolutely right, man. We're going to spend probably the entire running time of this movie, or if not 90% of it, in the Quantum Realm. And what they're doing with it in the trailers, it excites me tremendously. It's like something out of a fucking magical mystery tour, the fever dream that John Lennon dreamt up. When you see all of those Scott Lang's Ant-Men, because I'm going to call them men, plural, reaching up to this strange thing. And I think it's at the same time he narrates, I don't have to kill you, but I always fuck this quote up. I can never get that quote right. I don't have to kill
Batman
you.
Begins.
We just don't have to. I just don't have to lose or something like that. It was like Batman Begins. Yeah. You're absolutely right. That's what, they did it better.
Yeah.
And Paul Rudd did it better in the trailer than what I'm doing. It was a great quote, but there was some weird visuals.
I'm looking forward to this.
It's an insight into the Quantum Realm, Stephen.
One of the things I love about...
Were you on the show? Was it a solo show? Where I spoke about what they're doing with Michelle Pfeiffer in this movie? Was
solo show, yeah.
Stephen, what's your thoughts on that? I need to get your thoughts on that. I thought that was fascinating. That's one of the standout things that they're dabbling with in this new movie. The fact that Michelle Pfeiffer, her Janet Van Dyne character, lived an alternate life in the Quantum Realm. She's a freedom fighter, well known in the Quantum Realm.
Oh, she spent a lot of time in there, so she must have been up to something, and it makes sense.
So
I think it gives her character some dimension as well, John, because she, up to this point, she's too similar to the Michael Douglas character. I feel she's just like the female version of his character, Hank Pym, and I think give her more depth and and a backstory as well, and it makes sense because she spent, I don't know about how many years she was in there for, but it was a long time. Yeah. So it would make sense that she's familiar, and she's a familiar face in that universe as well.
My dog's snoring. It maybe felt even longer to her as well, because it's almost like this infinite place, isn't it? Existence where time stands still.
Well, I think it was reversed for Scott, because they said he was in there for 5 years, but it felt for him, for 5 minutes or something like that. So I don't know how it works. Yeah,
maybe it changes in terms of
visually though, John. I think they're at that point now. We've seen it in Doctor Strange, the original film. We've seen it obviously in Ragnarok, where you can go to these strange and crazy worlds. Yeah, and we've seen it in obviously the Multiverse of Madness, what they can do with the technology now in terms of making people's face into blocks and falling apart and all that.
That was a great moment to be fair.
We saw it, I think, was it in Infinity War? Just Thanos' power when he was turning the Guardians into different things, like the rolled up hands and stuff like that. It's like something out of Beetlejuice.
I'm thinking about everything everywhere all at once now. Sort of
hot dog fingers.
That weird sort of mating dance where they flick the hot dog fingers off of their waist. Gives me the creeps.
Oh,
Jesus
weird.
Christ.
Yeah.
And then it's in the mouth, and it's the
film,
ketchup and
the mustard.
The mustard. It's putting me off hot dogs for life. If the sort of arseholes and lungs that are inside the actual hot dogs.
Sort of smoked.
Yeah, it's not good, isn't it? I mean, I like hot dogs. I do like. I'm partial to a hot dog and a sort of German sausage, but it's nearly put me off it. So thanks for that, the Daniels. Bastards. But yeah, I mean, Steve, I'm looking forward to this. It doesn't surprise me. Kang's potentially killed Avengers in the past. When it was announced he was going to be the next big bad, Jonathan Majors was going to be portraying him. I looked him up, and by all accounts, he's this sort of Time Lord. Goes through time, goes to famous battles, intersections in history, and takes all the acclaim, changes the events of time themselves, kills people, becomes a sort of conqueror, if you like.
Yeah.
That's what he does. That's his raison d'etre. I think that's the second time I've seen that potentially in this show, and it will be the last. So it doesn't surprise me that he's went back and met various Avengers over his multiple variants and killed them. And this is part of what makes the character so compelling, and why I'm really excited to see Jonathan Majors' performance, because he is all powerful. He's omnipotent. He's here, there, everywhere. To quote Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
And what he's going to bring to that performance, not just in this movie, but multiple movies leading up to those double-header Avengers movies. It's going to be exciting times, man. I'm praying
I think we're going to. I think we're going to see different versions of him in this these two Avengers films as well.
Oh yeah.
But I think we're going to see different versions of him leading up to that, and this is just one of them, John.
Wouldn't it be great if he fights himself at one point,
Yeah.
almost like Captain America in Infinity War or
Yeah.
Endgame?
Yeah.
That is America's ass.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
like that, but it has more stakes, more emotional impact. But it's the ultimate evil version and the ultimate
Yeah, there
good.
must be a good one out there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we kind of seen that, a wise version who became burdened with overseeing the sacred
Loki,
timeline in Loki. So
Yeah.
we've seen less malevolent versions. So, I mean, there's so much potential with the character. That's why I'm so excited, without repeating myself, that Majors has been cast, because he's a brilliant actor. He's got the energy, he's bringing it in terms of the physicality. Really exciting to see what this guy can bring. He's always going to have the issue of being in the shadow of Josh Brolin and Thanos, who for me could be one of the greatest cinematic universe.
It's all
villains
about
ever created.
building it up, John, and I think they're doing it the right way. I mean, you've got to remember that Thanos didn't really make a big appearance till Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's when he really stamped his authority. Before then, it was just like end credit scenes and stuff like that, and
It wasn't even him.
It was, and you know, it was very intriguing. But I think what they're doing with this character Kang is the right way. They're introducing them in different ways. I think as well, John, because there's different variants, and you mentioned the one that was in Loki, and then we're going to get to see this one in Ant-Man.
Warrior one, yeah.
It's you'll not know how to take this guy, because they're all different versions of the same character, and it's I just think it's great.
It's a dimension it adds as well, Stephen.
Another dimension.
Start meeting this guy and becoming aware of him as a threat, and he does start popping in as different versions, maybe ones that want to help. You're going to have that trust issue. You're going to have it's so fascinating where they're going to take this. And one thing's for sure, you know, Feige and the creative team will have everything laid out already. They're probably already working in sort of raw cut versions of the actual Avengers movies,
and it shows the acting credibilities of Majors as well, John. That they can bring someone in that's going to be, it has to be very versatile in terms of how he portrays this character in different versions of the character as well. What I'm looking forward to the most is that, unlike Thanos, we knew what he was all about. We knew, don't trust a word he says. He's evil, he's bad, he believes what he's doing is good, but it's not. With this character, I don't know how we're going to take him. We are going to be like one of the characters in the film. We'll not know how to take this guy.
That's good.
And that's what I like. But anyway,
and
we're going to move.
In this movie, we're not going to know how to take him.
Exactly.
Well, manipulating.
We're going to move on anyway, John, because I know we've got another show to record for Wednesday.
Epic, I tell you.
We're getting into music news now, and it's all about Coldplay. Remember them? Yeah, Coldplay announced 10th studio album, Moon Music. For Moon Men. The group, fronted by Chris Martin, last year revealed they had stopped making records after 2025. But according to the musician, they're wasting no time recording new material in that window while they can. 2 years to record all your Coldplay stuff that's going to last forever then, Chris.
Do a 2-pack.
So stop working in that factory in Wigan. Speaking to City News about bringing their Music of the Spheres world tour to Canada, he revealed, "We're finishing an album called Moon Music, which is the second Music of the Spheres volume, but that won't come out for a little bit. We might start playing some songs at some point this year. Having completed a triumphant run of 6 sold out nights at London's Wembley Stadium last year, Coldplay will play further European and UK stadium shows set to take place over the summer." You going, John?
Stephen, I'll tell you, I don't mind Coldplay. They were at Hampden in the summer there, and I was out walking my dog in such a sort of proximity. We're not that close, but we're close enough that you can hear it carrying through the night sky. I was up walking my dog in a sort of remote part, and I could hear it clear as day. I could hear him singing The Scientist. I could hear him singing Viva la Vida.
Yeah.
Quite a few of the songs, I heard them. The guy's voice is unreal, man. He's a brilliant musician. He can play the guitar, he can play the bass, he can play the piano.
And he writes.
And as a band, they are tight, man. They've still got that tightness as a band in terms of performing live.
Still the same lineup, isn't it?
Still the same lineup. The bassist is from Fife. Guitarist is outstanding, man. What he does with that Stratocaster and Telecaster and just guitars in general is epic. The drummer's brilliant too.
Yeah.
So I don't mind Coldplay, actually. Obviously they became more commercialised and samey
Preachy.
over like the last 6, 7, 8, 10 years.
It became U2 basically.
It became U2, but maybe not. The height's not as good as U2, and maybe the low's not as low as U2.
Yeah, somewhere in between.
Somewhere
Middle of the road.
between.
Yeah.
So a U2 on like, antidepressant drugs. You don't reach the exhilarating highs or the debilitating lows, but you're just in there and you're okay.
Yeah, the baby-proofed themselves,
The first two albums were outstanding. Obviously, some of the greatest albums ever made in music, period.
A Rush of Blood to the Head and Parachutes. Yeah.
Well, The Scientist even could be you could say it's the anthem of my generation, but it's not really my generation because he's not my generation. I think it's your generation.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when
you're accepting it,
John. In late 90s, Kevin, my brother, he bought Parachutes.
Who's an unwilling,
and at the point, I never knew who they were, and he said, "Yeah, the English band. Give them a listen." I think it was Yellow. I went, but it's a bit bland, isn't it? Yellow. But it is a nice song, to be fair. But just listening to that album, probably about 4 or 5 singles off that right away.
Incredible.
That are very famous.
Is that the one with Sparks?
And Everything's Not Lost, which was a great song. I think it was one of the last tracks on the album. Then 2002, I want to say, Rush of Blood to the Head came out, which was a phenomenal album. I loved that album when it came out. And even after that, John, they still had great songs like that one you mentioned.
Viva La Vida.
Speed of Sound. There was good songs, maybe not great albums, but still could generate a good hit. I don't mind Chris Martin. I think sometimes he was a wee bit preachy.
He is still a bit preachy. He's a bit sort of Kumbaya Lord at times.
But he has got a good sense of humour about him, and we saw that in Extras. I thought he was great in that. And
does a lot as well. He does give his time up.
Yeah, he does a lot of work for charity.
It's recommended.
Yeah.
Steve, I always get back. I mean, there's a performance in the Middle East. I've cut you off there.
No.
But there's a specific concert in the Middle East. It was in Citadel or something like that. On top of this historic site. I don't know where it is exactly. Maybe in Yemen. I don't think it was though. Fucking incredible live performance.
Johnny also pulled together the Manchester concert, didn't he? For the bombing that happened a few years ago.
Decided to sit it out.
Yeah, it was a great concert, and well put together in such a short space of time. Sending that message out to terrorists, that we will not change our ways and we're not afraid of you. I thought it was a good concert, a lot of good acts there, and it was all down to partly Chris Martin. Obviously getting involved in that, and I think he did do a rendition of "Don't Look Back Now" with Ariana Grande, which was weird. I don't think she sang any. I don't think she knew the song.
I don't think she could.
She kind of just danced. It was a bit weird.
Soft voice.
You don't dance to "Don't Look Back Now." There's no dance movements.
I can't imagine her going anywhere near that song. I'm not going to lie.
I think it was sporadic. I think Chris Martin happened to be on the stage at the same time and just started singing it, and I think she was just there and she couldn't just walk off, so she had to kind of just
she'd done a partridge. Sometimes I just stand like this.
So it's a bit,
or dance like this.
But it was a good concert, John. But getting back to obviously Coldplay, 10th album,
that's some achievement.
I mean, that's an album every 2 years basically when you think about it. If they came out 99, I think the first album came out, you're talking 24 years, so it's every 2 years an album's come out. But they brought out quite a few albums between 99 and 2004, I think, and then they were kind of spaced out a bit more after that. But some might say they're a bit samey sounding, and
but it happens to them all, Stephen.
They've only got one singer.
They have only got one singer,
so the singer's always going to sound the same.
Yeah,
it's not like Beatles where they had 3 singers and sometimes a 4th one. So it is, but it is. But I don't think I'll buy that one, but it'll be on Spotify.
Yeah, it'll be on Spotify or on Apple Music, so you can certainly listen and maybe pick out some of the hits. And I think they'll still get the gravitas that they will get played in the sort of more populist radio stations and get their sound out there. So I'm sure if something strikes a chord, there's a potential they could get like number 1. I mean, there's some amount of shite getting to number 1 now anyway, so it's not that hard. No, if you look at the fucking nonsense we've had in the last 4 or 5 years at Christmas. For instance, I know they're doing it for charity, but Jesus Christ, what's fucking happening to humanity?
We're all becoming charitable.
Oh, God almighty. It's just, I mean, the best charity is to stop, just pay to the charities and stop funding that bullshit and get a proper Christmas number 1 again. But that's over and by with. We're getting into February now. Sadly.
Get that drunk guy that sang Merry Christmas, everyone.
Could do fucking worse, I tell you that. It's not much worse. We built this city on sausage rolls. What?
Yeah, what was that all about?
It's like pish. They've had 4 number ones in the last 5 years, Stephen. I don't know if you're aware of that. I wasn't.
Oh.
Because I don't really do Christmas music that much. I just listen to the.
It's became too. I mean, it was always gimmicky, John. But as much as I like Peter Kay, that one he did when he was playing the female sort of pop idol star. Do you remember it?
Yeah,
over and over and over again.
I blame Simon Cowell for all this.
Peter Kay was making a mockery of the whole thing.
That plastic fucking waxwork model dummy. He created all of this with this X Factor shite, and the winner's getting a guaranteed number 1 at Christmas. It's down to that.
Yeah,
absolute bottom. But in terms of this new album, Stephen, look, it could be. In terms, as I say, they're still tight as a band. The sound's still there. The guitarist is outstanding. He's like a slightly different version of Edge from.
It's funny, John, because when you listen to In My Place, it's very edgy.
It's
you know, the guitar work.
He loves the Edge. He grew up listening to U2. I don't even know his name, but he is a cool guy. He's funny. And you watch his performances. He's got a great on sort of stage persona. He has a good laugh and joke. Yeah. The bassist is a cool looking dude. He's always been cool as hell. So in terms of a band, they've still got it. It's just whether they've got it in the lyrics and they've got it structurally to give us a really special album in their mid-40s. Because no offence to people in their mid-40s, even mid-30s, it's beyond a lot of bands. Bands tend to come out the early 20s, mid-20s, give you all this special stuff. Then they just get older, they become wealthy, they haven't got the life experiences they had when they were younger, they lose their edge, and they just can't deliver that special music, which, going back to the Beatles, as we always do when we speak about music, is why it was the best thing they ever did, getting out when they were all in their 20s.
Yeah.
Because they were youthful, they hadn't really lost the edge and the brilliant drive. They were wealthy, but they still were living in incredible times.
Yeah.
And they never really lost that edge. That's why they remain so... There's an order around them.
Certainly is, John. I'm sure for years to come, I don't think 2025 will see the last of Coldplay. I don't believe that for a second. Chris Martin may get into songwriting and write for others. He did it with Embrace for that... What was that called again? Gravity.
It's another one, yeah.
Gravity, wasn't it? I mean, you could tell it. Coldplay are written all over it. You could tell it was Chris Martin that penned that one. But I don't think it will be the last we'll hear of him or the band.
Well, they'll just become their own Stones. They'll just tour with their discography.
Yeah, and their faces.
They'll become a sort of global version of Elvis Presley at Las Vegas.
Yeah, they'll be holograms.
Yeah, they'll wear jumpsuits and...
write things on the palm of their hands. That's like a smart thing, isn't it?
He's already fucking doing it. Even the clothes he wears, man, they're cool looking.
Yeah.
They suit him. What the fuck?
Sponsored by Oxfam.
Yeah.
John, we're going to move on.
Benetton, United calls him Benetton.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
He's a good guy.
He is a good guy. I like Chris, man.
We're going to move on anyway, John. As you've put on the headline there, it's all about our gaming news, and it's Steam is reportedly getting classic PS1, PS2 and PS3 games. John, you and I have been on Steam for the best part of 20 years, haven't we? With the likes of Football Manager and that, when that first came out, and all those kind of games from the early 2000s. But yeah, this is coming in from comicbook.com. Steam is reportedly getting a few classic PS1, PS2 and PS3 games, and one of the best series in gaming history. The report comes the way of leaker Leaks over on Twitter, who has proven reliable in the past. According to the leaker, the classic Metal Gear Solid games should be coming to Steam this year. The leaker adds they have received multiple signs that this will happen, but has no clue which games and versions will be exactly included. Unfortunately, this is the extent of the report. Why you keep talking then? But John, I'm not going to read anymore, because that was just the sort of the main point there. It was reports that obviously Metal Gear Solid is a series of games, which is really big games from late 90s, when Coldplay came out, basically. I remember Metal Gear Solid. It was a game that I never had. One of my friends had it. I played it, loved it, but couldn't afford it. So never really got into it, but it looked incredible, John.
Yeah, Steve, that was Hideo Kojima. And he's still making breaking games, if I can speak.
Yeah.
You had a stroke trying to say groundbreaking games there. It's quite a tongue twister. That's a sleeper, that'll catch you out. Try saying that and you're drunk. Groundbreaking games. Purple bugler alarm. I can say that. Fucking up, all you English people out there that like to slag Scottish people off. Purple bugler alarm. Fuck yous. I can't say buglery though. I just did. So I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hideo Kojima, this guy's been doing this for years and years and years. He's an absolute maestro in terms of storytelling and just what he's doing in that industry. He's always produced games and stories that rival the biggest and best drama-driven or blockbuster Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
That's the calibre of the writing, that's the calibre of the video games that this guy produces. And he did it all the way back then with Metal Gear Solid. He's still doing it with the likes of, I'm blanking on the name, the one with Norman Reedus, Death Stranding.
Yeah.
That guy, I mean, just an absolute icon in the video game industry, period. No one is even fucking near him, in my mind. The guy that did the Fable games is pretty good as well, but not on his level.
Yeah.
In terms of these games coming on Steam, Steve, for a completionist, it's always a great thing. And I know the streaming side of things on Twitch, there will be a generation of people who've not got access to PS1s, PS2s, probably don't know how to make it work technologically to get it on stream. I know one of the guys I watch, 1030, he's got fucking Master System games streaming on Twitch. I don't know how he does it. I think he points it at a TV and it's incredible what he does. But he's like that. That guy is just a wizard with things like that. Most people aren't. So being able to get access to a classic sort of IP like this with all the games, I'm sure just for the people who stream on Twitch who have missed it.
I was going to say, John, who is it aimed at? Is it for people from that era? Is it for new gamers that maybe come in? Well, if it's for the new gamers, if they're part of this inclusion, how do you think they will accept these games? Because one thing I've noticed from new gamers is they either go one way or other, where they will go, these graphics are pretty dodgy, but the actual gameplay is probably the best out there compared to all these good looking games that we get now. Some you have to work your ass off to obviously complete these games.
I think the name of the one that Portal was buffed out of.
It was Half-Life.
Half-Life. Yeah. Half-Life's one of the greatest fucking games ever made.
I think it was, yeah. Half-Life.
Yeah, it was Half-Life, because you had the sort of multiplayer game that we dabbled with back in the day. It was crazy.
I liked that. I liked John. I think you got me.
I got you the orange box.
Yeah, the orange box. It was fantastic. I was addicted to it. I completed most of those games that were on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the greatest games ever created, plural, because there was multiple, and there's people wanting sequels to that. Graphically, that's not the greatest. Lemmy was playing it not that long ago. I was watching him.
John, I played Doom a couple of weeks ago on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's still.
And I loved that game in 1993.
Yeah.
So you're talking 30 years ago. And I played it the other day, and my daughter was just looking at me and said, "Why are you playing that blocky looking horrible game?" And I couldn't stop playing it. There's something about it.
Stephen, games have been dumbed down over the last 30 years. They definitely have. I remember, and it's probably because I was a little kid, but I remember in the mid-90s playing the likes of Monkey Island.
Yeah.
They didn't hold your hand.
No.
You had to learn, and even now Monkey Island.
You didn't have checkpoints every 2 minutes.
You didn't. No, it was a different time, and things were much harder. So much like what we speak about with TV shows and films, where they didn't have access to big grand CG and technical sort of stuff, they had to make living, breathing sets and really make the writing pop.
In terms of
that's what it's like with video games. They had to work all the harder to captivate people back in the day, because graphically it was impressive for the time, but it was nowhere near where we are now.
It's like Star Trek TV series.
It is, yeah.
You had to really write your ass off. I keep saying that, don't I? John, Steam, as I said earlier, Steam's been out for the best part of 2 decades now. This must have been one of the very first platforms that
I think it was,
not so much streaming, downloading, wasn't it? You downloaded digital games.
That's where I'll be getting Hogwarts Legacy.
And this is obviously the beginning, if you like, of the end of physical media for games. We've talked about this at the start of the year as well, when we opened up the gaming news in terms of Game Pass and Steam, etc. But my memories with Steam was I thought it was fantastic because you could.
It's the social side of it as well. You can add people. You've got the sort of
a game like The Sims was ideal for this type of platform, and really just in Football Manager as well, because you could have that sort of multiplayer involvement, and as you said, the community. I think it had message boards as well. They still have those things,
you've got the sort of reviewing thing, you've got all this. It's just a brilliant little platform.
The way IMDb used to be before they took all the.
I don't remember. I do vivid. kind of remember the forums.
Yeah, I love the forums, but it gets spammed out to hell.
Yeah, so they've ditched it, Stephen. That's one thing I feel like that is definitely missing outside of Reddit.
Yeah.
Some sort of platform for movie enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Like a forum.
Maybe we can create one.
I think that's just dead now. People don't care about forums anymore.
No, I mean,
I
apart from football forums and stuff like that, I think that's the only time people will really get in. It's all about
social media.
It's all about, you know, instant information now, and not waiting for somebody to reply to something you've said maybe 2 weeks ago. Everything's live now, and everyone's in front of a camera talking about these things.
Twitter
now.
threads.
Yeah.
And arseholes on Facebook.
I can't be bothered with that. I honestly can't be bothered with that.
I was arguing with someone on Facebook the other day, don't know about that. A certain football game, a certain decision. And it went on and on and on.
I find myself becoming more of a troll. I like to wind people up more.
I'm going to dabble with that. I tell you, I'm going to get an account.
Really, just to troll people. You know,
I'm getting a bumper account.
I get really just. I can't take it serious enough online. There is things obviously that, you know, you're passionate about and all that, but when it comes to certain things, I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, is it really that important? No, it's not. Do you know something? I'm going to make a character online that thinks it's that important, and he's going to really annoy you. So that you'll never know who I am. You'll never know who I am.
I know who you are.
Yeah.
I know exactly what your name is.
Yeah.
And I laugh.
Yeah, I do it all the time, every week. I go looking for people.
Some of the best GIFs game on the entire Tinterweb, to quote an old-fashioned term. Yeah, I need to do that. I was thinking that.
Yeah.
That's some.
It's great. It really gets all that sort of negative energy out of you.
But then you have people saying,
but you're putting on to somebody else.
Yes, exactly. You're putting on to someone else. You're making their life misery.
Ruining their weekend.
Well, don't go on social media.
Yeah.
Because it's a source of. It's like the classic Alec Guinness, Ben Kenobi quote: a hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah, you must be cautious.
You must be cautious. Twitter is the Mos Eisley of our living, breathing world. If you don't want to be offended, just fucking come off it.
Yeah.
And some people just have a personal obligation to be offended. They go out their way to be offended all the time, and I fucking hate those people. I hate them. Just fucking, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Just live your fucking life, man.
Yeah, totally.
Live your life. Fuck all those hateful people. Let them get their moment, if hell exists, when they snuff it. And if it doesn't exist, nobody's going to know about it anyway. So who gives a fuck? That's why I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just a few specks of time where any of this actually makes any sense. I loved that. I just loved the way they explored existentialism. But anyway, I digress, man. Getting off in tangents here. Yeah, Steam, great platform. Looking forward to them introducing all these older PlayStation sort of titles.
Yeah.
Because I had the PS1, I had the PS2. Yep. I never had a PS3, which was insane. I did have a PS4.
See the GTAs on these platforms. You can just delve into GTA 5 or 4 or whatever. 4, probably 4. I loved 4.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, have you got them? Are they on there just now?
No.
That'd be strange. That's bizarre why I've not got that. You would think they would put them up. They were classic games just for the story mode alone.
I think they've released something with the more HD graphics for the previous game, so they probably pulled them from.
There you go.
From gameplay, you know. But
yeah, I had a PS4. I need to get
Tommy Vercetti
back into it.
HD. Who wants to see that?
Me.
I like the blocky version.
Lance fans.
Yeah.
I want to see Lance fans. Vice City was fucking epic, man.
That shirt.
Yeah, the Malibu bar, or whatever it was called. Just epic times. Good times. That dance.
That's right, yeah.
What the fuck music. Was that dance all about? It was bizarre, wasn't it? It was like a sort of... no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I was going to say something there. No, not going to say that. Anyway, let's go round up. What was your thoughts on the topics we touched upon? It's been that long a stream, well over an hour, that I forgot what the headline was. Fantastic Four. Do you want to see Ryan Gosling coming in and playing one of the Fantastic Four? Potentially Sentry, who is a good friend and confidant of Mr. Fantastic, leader of the Fantastic Four, or one of the leaders of the Fantastic Four. Just in case anyone thinks that's a misogynistic statement, it isn't. It was a simple twist of the tongue. I'm kind of doing my Chris Eubank Jr., Eubank Sr. sort of thing where he speaks very crisply. Now I'm going Welsh. What's happening? Share your thoughts on that down below in the comment section. You've got anything to say about that down there is the place to put it. What was your thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp, Kang the Conqueror? Suggesting, hinting, even in the latest trailer, that he has sparred. He's went toe to toe with previous Avengers and perhaps even killed them. Share your thoughts down below about that as well in the comment section. About Coldplay's 10th album, about Steam introducing our older PlayStation games, the Metal Gear Solid franchise, which is currently not on there. Anything you feel compelled to share can go down below in the comment section. That's the place to share your thoughts. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs. All that's left to say is until the next time, me and Stephen are done. Thank you very much for watching and bye-bye.